Hey everybody, welcome to Facebook Live. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. It's a pretty exciting time. Donald Trump is bringing in, I think, it's his second foreign visitor so far.
Yes.
It's Abe from Japan, the Prime Minister of Japan, is right behind us at the White House. And we have Philip Stuckey down at the National Mall. He's using Yaxine, interactive broadcasting system, to beam right into our newsroom, right onto your TV. We're going to throw in our headphones so we can chat with them and see what's going on. Holy smokes. Stuckey, what is that right above you?
Right above you. Oh my God.
So, looks like Marine 1 just actually flew over us here. Not entirely sure what's going on with that, but
He's probably going to pick up the president.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Chase it.
No, don't chase it quite yet.
Yeah,
that's an awesome shot. So we have Philip Stuckey, one of our political reporters, is down at the World War II Memorial in the National Mall, looking down at the mansion where Reagan used to live, the White House. And I'm Chris Bedford, here with Datoc and Katie Frates. And that's Marine 1, which is like Air Force 1, but a helicopter.
Yeah.
So
the Transformers copied the different plane, and this is that one. That one probably went over all y'all's heads.
That was good.
That was pretty good. I liked it.
Thanks.
So Stuckey, what's the feeling like down there? How's security?
How's security?
Security is completely blocked off west of the Washington Monument here. We have police on horseback and on bikes have completely stopped the flow of around here. There's a little bit of tourists right here. They're trying to walk past. There's a policeman right here in front of us. And then there's the Osprey right in the distance there. You can see.
Okay, zoom in on that sucker. That's the Osprey. That's like the most dangerous vehicle to travel in.
This is how America's military has still managed to stay on top of the world.
And there's people getting
With
on.
advanced
Look,
tech like that.
there's people
Oh,
getting
look
on
at
it
that.
right now. They're boarding.
Jumping on
So that's one of those twin rotor vertical takeoff like airplanes.
Technically, they're planes.
They're technically planes.
Technically, yeah.
And that seems to be, if I recall, I'm sure some of our commenters are going to be like, "You civilian idiot" here. But an Osprey is something you don't really want to get in because they crash a lot, but it's also something you definitely don't want to see coming.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's like the last thing a couple terrorists have seen is an Osprey landing on a moonless night, and then it's a smoke show.
Well, normally on a moonless night, they don't even see them, though.
They're already done here.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Can you tell who's boarding?
So,
You can tell who's boarding.
I'm going to go over to the White House now and look for.
Does that look like POTUS?
Look like POTUS?
It's kind of hard to tell.
Kind of hard to tell.
So the helicopter you can see.
That's wild. So Stuckey, we're going to keep with you and have you keep filming in, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on today, but let you provide some of this awesome special effects behind us.
Definitely.
So he just met with the Prime Minister of Japan.
Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
Yeah, Abe. I've been calling
yes.
him Abe for like
Me too.
3 years.
I got
Because we
called
all
out
want
for
to
that.
say Abe Lincoln is why everyone's like, yeah, Abe.
Is that why?
That's
Well,
cool.
it's ABE. It's like America. And this is
It's like
how we speak.
America.
It is, yeah.
That was good. Cultural
That-
appropriation.
that was a bit of
That's
cultural
great.
Kind of like Babe without a B in front of it.
So this is, of course, they had talked on the phone after Donald Trump had killed TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was a multilateral agreement between 12 countries. And Japan, Abe was very much for that trade agreement. Everyone said that when Trump murdered it with his executive order, that China was going to take over the world. And they spoke on the phone after he signed the order killing TPP, but this was the first time they've seen each other since that happened. And of course, when he was asked by a reporter, Abe was asked by a reporter at their press conference they held today at the White House, he was asked, "What do you think about Trump killing TPP?" And Abe glossed right over it. Didn't even acknowledge the
And he
question.
complimented the golf course.
Oh, yeah.
Started talking about immigration. He started talking about terrorism. Acted as if the reporter didn't even say anything.
Well, even after that first conversation they had when Trump killed TPP, Abe went out and gave a speech on the lower house of the Japanese parliament and said, look, we like TPP. That being said, we trust Donald Trump to do what's best for trade for us and for America. And
they're probably our closest ally in the region.
Oh, certainly. He called Trump right after the election. He's been on his team since day one.
We've had our differences, Japan and the United States, but I think we're pretty much beyond that. We've been close buddies since. And Abe is interesting. It's so weird. I've been calling him Abe for years, like an uncultured.
It's still weird saying Abe, isn't
Yeah.
it?
He's been somebody who's been for remilitarizing Japan in a way that's never happened before, not since World War II, where they were terrified of ever fighting an offensive war, of any of this stuff. And the Prime Minister, Abe, has really taken the lead in Japan. It's been very controversial. He has visited graves of Japanese soldiers. He's visited Pearl Harbor. He's taken a look at World War II face on. And he's also said, like, hey, look, guys, I got news for you. There's 1 billion communists right across the pond. And
He's worried.
We need to be careful with these
He's
guys.
realigning himself with the new administration and with the current, international political climate. I think he's seeing that the relationships that were built under the Obama administration are not there. Clearly, our relationship, or not necessarily America our, but Donald Trump's supposed relationship with Putin is very different from what Obama had.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think he's just being smart. I think this is a smart move on the Japanese Prime Minister's part.
You wrote something about Donald Trump doing business with the Japanese in the past.
Yeah, so if you check it out on the Daily Caller, you will find an article about how Trump actually really hates working with the Japanese when it comes to business. He wrote about this. He wrote about this
So many countries
in
in
Trump,
Asia.
The Art of the Deal, his
Japanese.
his 1987 book about all things business. And in this page, I believe it's pages 185 to 186, he talks about how he hates doing business with the Japanese because they got rich by, quote, screwing the United States. They never smile.
That was
They
back
never
before the
have
trade war.
fun.
Back
Yeah.
before the Reagan trade war.
Yeah, so he describes in great detail all the reasons he doesn't like doing business with them, primarily because they show up in like groups of 6, 9, and 12, and he says it's very
quote.
easy.
Rolling
It's very
deep.
easy
Roll deep.
it's very easy to convince one person. You might get 3, but you have to convince 6, 9, or 12, and that's very difficult. And he didn't like that, and also specifically did say that they don't smile, and he doesn't like that.
And he doesn't know the language. So you
Right.
can see it if you're watching the press conference today. Donald Trump is very similar to me, and I think you have this too, Katie, where you don't really hide when you're bored. Like, you just can't. And, like, the translator starts talking. It was really weird because it was a woman translator talking for, like, this kind of masculine dude. And as soon as he starts talking, Donald Trump's eyes start to wander, like,
You could see him thinking about taco bowls.
he's thinking about, I don't think
Out
he's
of
just
nowhere.
looking around like, this is a nice room. Oh, that's a flash. What do I have to do tonight? These nice cufflinks. Only available
up.
at Tiffany's. Those sons of bitches. at
Not
Nordstrom.
available at Nordstrom's. Certainly not.
Trump steaks are pretty good. Like, and you could see this yesterday during one of his press conferences when he had some corporate leader sitting next to him and talking, and everyone knows they're all standing. They all know where to look except for Trump. He's just kind of like.
Just doing his own thing.
This story's got, according to his biographer, he's got the attention span of a kindergartner, and he seems to get everything and pull it all in. But it was hysterical to watch him during those translations.
Well, and of course now they have a meeting after this, but then they're going to head down to Mar-a-Lago in Florida,
It's a nice
and
time to go to
on
Mar-a-Lago.
Trump's
Put
the list
personal
in the book.
Trump's personal expense to bring him down there. I actually found it
On Trump's
hysterical.
personal expense?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome.
And then
Don't want to
you
waste
know,
taxpayer dollars on something. as
Hillary
trivial as this.
Hillary is flying down to Florida to
Oh,
try
I did
and
not
speak
know
with
that,
him.
actually.
Yeah, and so I'm like
Lulu's
giggling.
talking.
I'm like, do you wonder if Trump's going to pay for her ticket down too? Because I know,
He might.
these days she might not have such a steady salary.
She
but
has been used to flying around on Air Force One for a good part of her life.
he'll be like,
but
he should have tweeted out and been like, Hillary, I'll come get you too. Don't worry, we'll come swing by.
You can imagine like what it's like to get a Trump invitation down there. He'd be
Yeah.
like, I brought you down on my own expense. I'm very rich. I'm very wealthy.
Believe
I'm
me.
very successful. I'm actually very good at business.
How are they getting down there if it's on his dollar? Because they can't fly Air Force One.
Well, he
Right?
might just be reimbursing or whatever.
Oh, I guess, actually,
Could he?
that was a
Yeah,
very
I'm sure
dumb
there's
question.
some way that he
I
could.
bet
just
he's like,
free.
He's probably Venmo.
He's calling out those hundos and
You
just throwing them
probably
out.
have to
Like,
do
I got
what-
this. It's
You
all-
probably have to do what fake news CNN does, which is like you pay for a first class flight seat. So Air Force One is like doing its like $50,000 flight or whatever the heck it costs.
It's a lot more than $50,000.
A lot more than 50,000.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not an expert in private jet ownership, but once it lands, then he
Color.
probably has to like reimburse the U.S. government for like 2 first class.
That makes
tickets
sense.
or
That makes
something.
sense.
That's
Yeah.
The way that they usually kind of BS us out. So let's want to pull back in
Uh-oh.
Stucky and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Looks like we got some rotor action on this beat.
Yeah, Stucky, tell us what's going on. I've been keeping an eye on it. It looks like hopefully it's going to take off soon. We can get some lift off, but tell us what's going on. How loud is it?
Well, based on the fact that it sounds to be covering
It's so
his
loud we
mic,
can't even hear
it's
Stucky.
pretty loud, yeah.
Well, in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about. I got a question for you based on an article you wrote. Both you guys were killing it during this. The serious question that everyone in America is asking: did Donald Trump bow? Did he bow when he met Abe?
Well, I didn't write about
Abe.
this one specifically. I wrote about, so there was 2 handshakes for those of you guys out there not familiar with what we're talking about. The one that caused a big fuss was the one that was actually at the press conference.
That was
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, it was a jockeying of power, what you want to call it. The one
They
I
shook
wrote
hands
about.
forever, and then
It
at
was
the
weird.
End,
It was like 20 seconds.
yeah,
like,
and at
jerked
the
him
end,
back and forth,
Abe
too.
goes. He's like so obviously happy.
Maybe
that
his
this is
hand
over.
just really hurt. 'cause
I mean,
Trump,
pretty much.
I think Trump has a pretty strong handshake.
Also,
You
like,
shook his
the-
hand.
They're
before.
little,
Already-
but surprisingly strong.
The
They're
entirety
nimble.
of Japanese culture is like rotates around minimal human contact.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do not touch me.
Yeah, that's a serious problem in their
Safe
culture.
space before safe space.
Yeah,
No
because
touching.
literally no one is having babies.
Yeah, because they're just not interested in it. It's
Japan's got
icky.
bigger problems.
They must have a lot of cooties flying around there. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Oh, there we
it
go.
Here
Yeah,
we go.
check
Let's
out
pull it
behind
in.
us, guys.
Osprey
It
taken
is
off.
taken off.
I tell you what, these things,
Look at that thing. That's awesome.
while they do have a relatively high crash rate, they're just
No,
awesome.
Stucky,
No,
we don't want
Stucky.
to see your face.
Well,
Check
that is
that out,
fantastic.
guys.
That's
I don't
a
know
marvel of
if you
modern
guys have seen
technology.
this, if where you're tuning in from on Facebook Live, if you've ever seen this before. But I've never watched an osprey move like that, or at all, really. I've just seen pictures.
I've
That's
seen some of the
fantastic.
training footage that the Marines have posted online.
Yeah.
I mean, those things, they move in ways that just defy traditional, like,
That's pretty basic
knowledge
right
of
there.
flight.
They can do some more damage. Now, this is an awkward time. Speaking of, weapons and foreign policy, it's kind of an awkward time for us to meet with Japan because yesterday, Trump decided that he was going to acknowledge the one China policy. And if you haven't caught up quite on that, it's this old U.S. policy that is, we say that China is the only government of China, period. And there's no other government. We don't acknowledge the Republic of China
Certainly not.
in exile. And Trump toyed with getting rid of that. And then yesterday,
he
during
did say it right after he
negotiations-
got elected.
Yeah, well, he took a
believe.
phone call from Taiwan, which is like not allowed. You're supposed
A
to
big
pretend that
no-no
exists.
in the
Yeah.
international
Okay, so maybe
community.
this is my
You got it.
theory.
Made up,
Nice,
made up.
Nice.
Holla at
Maybe
your boy.
this is my theory.
Thanks, John.
But do you think Trump was just sitting there and the random lady translator is blathering on the phone and blah, 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 and they bring up one China, he's just like, whatever, sure, and keeps going, and all of his assistants around him are like,
Oh my God.
no, and Trump's just like, I don't care, whatever, this is boring. Like, I want to
could
go watch
kind of
TV.
see that. Like, he just lost his train of
just
thought.
like, sure, cool, whatever.
I do that, Mom, sorry. I love you, but I do this on the phone sometimes. We'll have our, like, 35
You put on
minute-
speaker, and
First
every
of all,
once
first
in
of
a
all,
while you're
I
like,
talk to my
huh?
mother.
Biggest
I
defender
talk to my
on
mother
Facebook
every
Live.
single day. She is.
And I've seen her. I've seen her comment.
She's not afraid to mix it up with the commenters.
No,
in
when
there.
you guys
I
say
love
mean things
that.
about us, like you're doing right now, she's watching.
Hi, Mama Daytalk.
Mama Datox got our backs. No, yeah, but you're in a long conversation. You think you're paying attention, but then all of a sudden, someone asks you a question. You're just like, oh yeah, definitely, yeah, sure, for sure. I was totally the
Right.
whole time.
So Sean,
can
tell
see
us
what's
when Stucky
happening.
wants to come in, and we'll talk to him. But yeah, I think it's more like he just. So here's the thing about Donald Trump is he's a negotiator,
Mm-hmm.
and he uses things, whether it's land, or money,
Mm-hmm.
or policy, things that a lot of folks have like a lot more attachment to than he does. They care deeply about this building. Like this is
Definitely.
their home, or this is where they grew up. This is like their biggest property. Or for the conservatives, like one China policy, they were so close. They've been working on this for decades. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. And for Trump, it was just kind of a chip. It was like, I'm going to push the Chinese. I'm going to prod them. I'm going to tell them I mean business. I'm going to take this phone call. And then when the Chinese drive a hard bargain and says, we're not even speaking if you don't do this, he says, okay.
Yeah, but how long
can
until
roll
he
with that,
flips
but-
back around and says, well, I don't know, we'll see what happens.
His
I
opinions do
totally
vacillate.
don't think that's out of the realm of possibility
might,
for
but he
him to
tries
flip
to-
again.
I agree, although he always speaks highly of people whose word is their bond. When he makes
Okay,
a
Donald
promise.
Trump, are you kidding
He
me?
switches back and forth on his
does.
opinions
Okay.
frequently.
I
like
think
all
his
humans.
fluidity is probably one of his greatest strengths, though. At least in terms of like being a new politician.
But when
We
he
really
says,
appreciate
but when
other
he
people
says you've got a
sticking with
deal,
us.
when he says you've
Okay.
got a deal, in Art of the Deal, he talks about meeting some of these older guys and trying to make a deal, and the guy says, all right, you've got one. And Trump's nervous. He doesn't think it's a very good deal. He thinks he's getting a really big win. He goes, can we write this down? And the older guy looks so offended. He was the head of Tiffany's. And he just looks at me and goes, I gave you my word. And Trump felt like an idiot. And he even wrote that. He's like, I felt really stupid. I was totally embarrassed. And that left a lasting impression on me. Like, man, this guy said it. And even later, his advisors were like, this was a bad deal. You shouldn't have made it with this young guy. And the guy goes, well, I gave him my word, so it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
And he always seemed to respect that.
It's a different code. It's a different time, and
It's
I mean,
a Trump
obviously
code.
politics are different than business. Actually, Andrew Mitchell said something funny about the Trump code today, and I never really thought of it this
funny
way.
Things?
I don't think intentionally,
Okay.
but
Everyone slips up
inadvertently,
now,
yeah.
yeah.
No, but it was after bringing it back to the handshake. She said something about how it's not customary for presidents to greet foreign dignitaries or even foreign heads of state at the front door when the car rolls up. Trump has done it twice so
Right.
far, and she said, "I guess that's
And he
just
went
part
in
of
for
the
the
Trump
bro hug.
code." Yeah,
He went in for the
First of
bro
all, I
hug.
love this. This was amazing. Some
I
people
Sean, are you
said it
saying
was
that
like,
Stucky it can come
I
in?
didn't see this. Can you, what is the bro hug?
I'm going to reenact it.
Okay.
So let's say we just played a game of pickup
Right.
basketball. I was like, yo,
Okay.
I respect you, dog. You got game.
Really?
You got game.
He did it just
and
like
then
that?
you bring it back into this one. And then you bring it back into this one.
He did that?
And then it's the double-fisted
No,
back.
he
down.
didn't. Did it?
I
Abe do
swear
that
to
with
God.
him?
Yeah, he did that.
sort of like kind of didn't know what was going on, but look it up. Again,
And,
it's
and
on
then
our
he gets
website.
up there and he goes, I feel very close. We're very close.
Of all
on
the
the
people I've
podium.
met so far, you're the closest
I
I've felt.
Kai just went with the bro hug.
Wait, that's
Keep in
awesome.
mind,
Can we compare that to
Japanese
all of
do
the...
not like physical
Can
contact.
we
It was kind of
take
mean
that?
if you think about it.
I
Yeah.
mean, think about how much taller he is. Do you think that was just total dominating power move? of
Okay,
like-
a one racist because Abe is actually surprisingly tall.
but not as tall
Yeah,
as
he's
Trump.
pretty
Japanese
alpha.
man. Yeah, he's like 6 feet tall. Yeah, I guess I'm the racist
Can we
one.
do a comparison of that handshake to all of the horrific handshakes Obama did, like the one with Trudeau and that other guy?
Well, how about the time he met the
That were
Emperor?
like
the
Yeah.
triple
so-
handshake?
Down.
That was terrible.
But I think we have Stucky now on the microphone. So why don't we throw in our trusty ear sets and
Are we
and ask him
are we
what's
stuck back
like
in
down
traffic?
there. Are we stuck?
Oh,
That's-
Can't cuck the stuck.
I don't actually think I hated that pun.
I liked it. Thank
It's
you.
not bad.
Hey, Stucky.
Hey, Stucky.
We still
We
can't
still
hear you.
can't hear you, Stucky.
But
That's
we love
fine,
it.
that's
Thank
fine.
you,
That's
thank
fine.
you,
We love you.
It's all that fancy
All that
technology that's on there.
that's on there.
On the Osprey.
We'll keep on
We'll keep on
chatting.
chatting.
Off
He's
higher
on higher
technology. Or
technology.
less
Right.
There we go. Damn meeting.
Wait, are we
Oh,
back?
I think we got you now.
Stucky.
We saw you go.
Yeah.
So could you describe what it was like watching that magnificent beast,
Whip your hair around.
as Katie said?
It was pretty incredible, actually. So they started the rotors, and it probably took we were probably sitting with the rotors turning for like 5 to 10 minutes, and and then they finally just kind of started taking off, and it was pretty incredible to watch, I'll say. But we had two black vans in the motorcade, and there was about 3 police cars and then a black SUV.
Did you
I
get
think
any
he was-
idea of who was in that? Was it? Could you even tell if it was Americans or people from the Japanese government?
The police line was so far away that we weren't able to get that good of a look as far as kind of like what kind of people are there. They actually got in pretty quickly, but the helicopter had sat still for probably like maybe 15 minutes after everyone got in. So we thought at first that maybe President Trump would be joining them, but it looked they ended up just taking off, and then of course Marine One took off from the White House just a few seconds after that.
So wild speculation time, since we've got no facts to hinder us. Let's have a little fun. My guess: Special Forces.
Special Forces. I can see
Security,
that.
for in case Marine One goes down or the convoys hit, and they have to put that Osprey down anywhere.
I like to think that it was the anti-Godzilla task force that President Trump put together secretly, of course.
'Cause
in
he doesn't trust the Japanese?
Exactly. I'm just saying, I can say that because I'm Filipino, and
It's not like you guys have an age-old battle with each other.
no big deal. Yeah, nothing in
Wait,
particular
you're
that comes
like
to mind.
you're Havesies.
I'm halvesies Filipino. That doesn't
We're
mean I
not
can't
going to
be
get into the
halvesies
discussion
proud.
of racial fractions. We have a
My
divisive history of
favorite
that in the
comment
States.
ever
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Facebook Live was when someone goes, "Which half of you?"
Why?
I don't quite know what they
Why
meant
does
by
it
that, but I
matter? Why
laughed.
does it matter which half?
He's clearly Italian. I'll tell you one thing: you're not Irish.
I'm definitely not
So
Irish.
Stucky, what's going on now? Has the motorcade left? Has everybody moved off from the mall? Is security kind of leaving?
Yeah, the motorcade completely left. All the police have retreated, and so now tourists are back on the National Mall here. As far as who was in it, I personally think they were about to storm Nordstrom's over in Pentecostal.
Oh, that's a
Look
hot
at it.
take, and probably correct.
I think they should.
This whole Prime Minister Abe meeting was just a cover.
Oh,
For-
just to sack Nordstrom's?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Navy SEAL raid. Maybe John McCain will think this mission's a success. Too soon?
They're going to wrap up Chelsea Handler while they're there. Throw her in a dungeon somewhere.
Well, Stucky, if I have it correct, you have a meeting in the office in 20 minutes. So we'll catch you later. We have Philip Stucky. Thanks for filming for us, coming in on Yaxi, a live interactive broadcasting system.
If you're late, you're fired.
Their words, not mine. I'll never fire you.
I'll never fire you.
Not important.
So this weekend, Alpha Trump gives
Yeah.
a bro hug to the Prime Minister of Japan, has special forces just in waiting. Well, that's my guess. Godzilla task force team.
Possibility.
Anti-Nordstrom strike team. What was your guess, Katie?
I didn't really
Lame.
have one because I'm boring.
No, you got to just make one up. I mean, I always wanted the job of one of those North Korea consultants who's like, they consult them for like BBC articles. Their just job is like to guess what happens to North Korea. And like, psych, you're 50 years from being proven wrong. So you can just make it up.
It sounds like
I
a
think
pretty
it-
low-risk gig, if you ask me.
This satellite image, which shows me nothing, makes me think that they executed the high official with an anti-aircraft gun.
Good,
Or like
go
fed
on.
them live to dogs. Like,
Yeah.
complete BS.
But being blown up by an anti-aircraft gun, not a bad way to go. Pretty much, it's instantaneous death. You don't feel anything.
I would take
you're
that over the lethal
You're just
injection.
turned into a fine
so? The
mist
electric
very
chair.
quickly.
Yeah.
Definitely the electric chair.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and being eaten by dogs, hell yeah, blow me up.
I'd agree with
Which
that.
it turns out, like, it most likely didn't happen either.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the dogs was like for sure.
I think it
confirmed.
was fake news.
Wow.
Yeah. Just
Shocker,
made up by those
fake
North
news.
Korean
CNN
experts.
strikes
yeah.
again.
If you can get a job doing that.
Well, of course, there's a couple of things. So there's been a couple major victories for Trump this week. We have Betsy DeVos was confirmed. Mike Pence had to come in and cast the tie-breaking 51st
Historic.
vote.
Historical.
On the first ever cabinet confirmation. He had to break that tie, but she is now officially our Secretary of Education. And we had Jeff Sessions, who was confirmed 52 to 47. Only one Democrat
Roll
voted
damn
for
tide.
him. One Democrat. And now, of course, he is our new Attorney General. And big wins. Like, these are big people. DeVos was the only one that we thought maybe wouldn't make it, and she did.
And Tom Price. Health and Human Services.
That's big. People
Yeah.
have kind
Yeah.
of glossed over this. Obamacare took a big hit today.
Yeah, it's in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
The left-wing press sent me a newsletter. I sent them for all their mailing lists. You guys should too. You know, learn a little bit.
If you want to
about
just
what
be
they think.
enraged looking at
No,
your
you-
inbox.
And it was like, we lost the fight against Tom Price, but the fight has just begun.
I love how this is your like go-to.
Always.
Like,
The,
Wait,
the
so tell me,
limp-wristed
Christian-
shake. That's my like favorite liberal
so
threat.
Christian, if the viewers don't know what happened with Obamacare today,
well, specifically, obviously, Tom Price, I guess I should say, Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price.
It's the overseer of Obamacare.
He is effectively now. He is
Right.
the gatekeeper. He was also, prior to being nominated by President Trump, one of, if not the fiercest opponent of Obamacare in the House. He was one of the few Republicans who actually brought replacement plans to the floor. Of course, they were shot down. But still,
And
I mean,
a doctor.
and a doctor, a former orthopedic surgeon from Atlanta, NBD. He's my hometown rep.
that sounds horrifying to me. Aren't orthopedic surgeons the one that like snap bones and reset them and like do horrible things to people?
He was a knee guy, so I don't know how many bones he was snapping, but he did do some, tendon and ligament repair. Yeah, it's not for me. Obviously, we're not in the biomedical field.
And we always assume that it's just like really quiet and like laser oriented, but when you have to like
it's
break a
not.
hip or something, I mean, you gotta. That's hard. You're sweating at the end of that.
Bone
surgery.
is like
That's so
harder
gross.
than steel.
That's so gross.
It's like a gunshot.
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
so-
I've never operated on anyone, but I've tortured a few people, and it's difficult.
Okay, so moving on, back to Obamacare. So he, of course, as you said.
Well,
was
yeah,
a
no, I
major
mean,
opponent.
he and Price was sworn in by Pence today.
Right.
He has vowed that not only will they repeal Obamacare, they'll put in a replacement that
Right.
prioritizes patient-doctor relationships.
Right.
And they do. He has actually, sort of rolled back his positions from when he was in the House, and that there are some aspects, like President Trump has done now, some aspects of the Affordable Care Act that he does like, namely the
Pre-existing
conditions.
Well, it's not even that the Republicans don't really love it. It's just they can't think of a politically possible way to
You
repeal
can't
it.
walk back that once that's there.
Well, now that Obama's changed the
That's
dialogue.
what all these people
completely.
have been elected on.
Now healthcare is they've all been elected to get rid of Obamacare,
Mm-hmm.
but nowadays healthcare is basically considered a right, which I think is completely insane. And that
It
shows
is.
you how effective Barack Obama was at changing.
It was
It's like,
messaging.
It's like nowadays, I mean, when FDR put in Social Security and Medicare, or he didn't put in Medicare, it was LBJ. These things were considered like assaults on the individual and liberty. And nowadays, you can't find a Republican politician, except for, you really can't find any, who will say like, I'm gonna repeal Social Security. And now no one's gonna say. They're all gonna say, I'm gonna fix Obamacare, but no one will lose their health care. Like, oh, maybe they will.
So an important thing about this, though, is that Obamacare has been this horrible failure. Of course, all the exchanges, I think 20 of them, of the 24, something like that, roughly have failed across the country, costing taxpayers millions and millions of dollars, making people lose their health insurance. And the thing is that the majority of people do not want Obamacare to stay as it is. Whether it's an entire replacement or it's fixing it and changing it in some way, the majority of people want something to happen with it. And really, I think all the Republicans have to do is in some way make it better. If it's even a little bit better, then they can see, look, we made it better. We did it.
And the way to do that, I think, is probably to get the government the heck out of it.
Right, but like they don't actually have, I think it's a very low bar they have to get over to make it just a little bit better, and then they can be like, see, told you so.
The goal is to halt the premium rise. It's not even to reverse it, because that's almost effectively impossible at this point.
Because the insurance companies
the deductibles are enormous now. Of course, there's like so many different things.
Senator Langford, I was at a conference for him out in California a few weeks ago, and a lot of senators and congressmen are freaking out because they're getting phone calls from all these people being like, I have a pre-existing condition. I will die if Obama doesn't pay for my health care. And some of it's actually real. Like, some people who will lose their health care will be in trouble. Serious trouble.
And it's sad, and no one wants people to,
But Langford pointed out, he's like, I'm not losing focus. My state, Oklahoma, has one healthcare market left. That's it. And some places have none. Because insurance won't even work in that state. He's like, I think it's like 23 states, or so, 20-something states that have one insurer available. Saying, oh, but we've slowed the price rise. We've slowed it.
Oh, thanks. It's still rising.
150% increase is a slowing of the price.
What was it doing before?
It wasn't doing that. It's total BS.
Fake news.
So they have to fix it. Republicans cannot back down. And Tom Price is probably the best person conservatives could hope for. It's actually a good week. Betsy DeVos, Jeff Sessions, Tom Price. Conservatives can be like, Donald Trump's got some of his people in place.
And 3 of the most opposed of all of Trump's nominees, too.
Have made it, yeah.
That's because they're the highest profile.
Well,
now they're going to start fighting,
They'll fight for everyone. But I know that you have a meeting that I believe you're already late for, and we have to go break the news and enjoy our weekend, guys. So as I like to say, we are out of beer and out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next Wednesday. Have a great weekend.
Stay tuned. It's going to be a very, very special broadcast, as I've been told.
Oh, yeah. We have an awesome broadcast coming next Wednesday.
His fault.
So
the
awesome.
greatest. So awesome, we're going to get tired of awesome.
So awesome it requires finger guns.
Bye, guys.